But then I forgot about the whole Unicorns of Love story yesterday, so I can't really go there.
That's true. I mean, Amazing said it himself during the interview, you know, well, it'll feel good to beat another European team. It's always nice. But they're well on their way right now. I don't think you can really see much hope, just the way that game played out.
Nah, it really pivots. Like, the entire game, the way it plays out is all dependent on that one fight. I mean, suddenly you're Renekton. Not only does he have to itemize differently, it's an early game matchup. Like, the window in where Renekton wins is like the first 50 minutes. If he then doesn't get ahead, he's so far behind that it's irrelevant. And then Origin know how to play out a lead. Like, 2,000 gold that early in the game?
Yeah, Blue's like Gangplank, man.
They just don't play it, probably.
How can you not play Gangplank? I know for a fact Concerts plays Gangplank, and I know Bjergsen plays it as well, but yeah.
Maybe they want to get Lulu. Maybe they've done the math and said Origin can only ban so many champions. Therefore, if we ban one of them, right?
What I find really interesting is this Kassadin ban on both sides by Origin so far, just because, of course, it's a very powerful, got buffed on 521.
Right.
But you have a counterpick here on the red side, so seeing the Kassadin ban is, I think, a little wacky to me.
Kassadin gets played a lot right now in high elo European solo queue, and if you get past like the 20-minute mark, I don't know, man, that gets pretty disgusting sometimes.
We saw with the LGD game yesterday. You got the 5 items, 6 items, and he was pretty much solo carrying the game. Even if they didn't win, he drugged that game out real hard.
Yeah.
All right, time Kench off the board now.
What about the Jinx ban? I mean, is that partly also because they're on the other side and they want to leave more high priority picks open? Might as well put pressure on Double Lift?
I think they want to first round of the draft take Tristana.
Yep.
And then see what
Double Lift does. Because if we look at Double Lift, just in Worlds and here, it's been about the ability to fast push in the lane swap and those resets in the late game. So that's what I think they're going for. And Lee Sin.
Also, you leave Lulu open, but she needs to really like work. She works super well with Tristana, with Jinx, and maybe a Kalista, you know. So.
Okay. I mean, there's still Tristana and Kog'Maw up here. So you could first pick Lulu, and then maybe... I doubt he's been practicing Kog'Maw, because they're going to pick Tristana on the next rotation.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean. Like, you give the Lulu, but then we take the hyper carry.
Right.
Suddenly, you're stuck with a very low mobility hyper carry that you probably haven't practiced much against a coordinated team.
Actually, there's still Ashe.
Yeah.
We haven't seen Ashe.
Do you like Ashe Lulu?
Okay.
Whoa. It's a hyper carry.
Well, it is. And...
I lied.
Trying to prove wrong here, perhaps.
Very interesting.
Yeah. I don't... That's it. Okay. Well, there goes that plan. I honestly thought they were going to get the Tristana there. I'm like, all right, let's see what you play Double Lift.
Yeah. They're pinching the jungle pretty hard, though.
Yeah, but where are they going to put these particular champions is going to be the question. So
at least support is back.
Yep. Yeah. At least support.
It's actually
at least mid, at least top, at least everywhere.
I think 80 Kindred's actually really, really strong in...
Brazil played it.
Yeah, it's really strong in the bot lane, but the thing is if you don't just crush your lane and you go into the mid and late game, you have like a 500 range 80 carry. It's really hard to take turrets.
Into a Lulu, that's going to be rough.
Yeah.
Well...
I'm just waiting for the picks, man. I'm out of...
Yeah, I mean
this is...
especially with the Tristana plan kind of going out, now just TSM, are they convinced then that the Kindred's going to be the AD? Well, it looks like they still want to secure that just in case.
The problem with this is, like, if you pinch the jungle this hard and the only remaining jungle pick is Gragas, which has displacement against the Kindred ulti, you're kind of like helping your opponent figure out what your counter is, right? Because there's still Rek'Sai available, but like displacement's so strong against Kindred. You can stay in the ulti, you can knock them out, then kill them, carry on a fight.
It's also strong with Kindred too.
Yeah.
Right.
If it's on your team, one way or the other, it's going to be good.
I also don't really like the playing Rek'Sai against Kindred as well, because you knock them up, you burst them, and then you're just stuck in the Kindred ultimate, and she just kites you out really hard. It's really annoying to kill Kindred as Rek'Sai. So I like the Gragas pick here a lot.
The Bard. Oh, I know some of you guys are hoping for lots of Bard play this weekend, but so far elusive.
I don't think either team has like a Bard main, so...
Miffy, I tried to convince him so many times, and he's like, I see it, I respect it, but no.
It's hard to play, man. It's legit hard to... You have to put the games in. Get the Alistar. Probably see the Braum again. I thought the Braum was really good by Mithy.
I like Braum into Alistar, because you don't get punished for any of the offensive moves you try to pull. Because Alistar can never afford to pulverize the Braum, so he can literally keep fishing until he connects with the AD carry, and then Alistar starts to disengage. Because if you waste your Q on a Braum, Braum's next Q is up sooner, you can literally just Q flash all in the AD carry, and there's nothing Alistar can do.
Get the Zillion, man. That's the true king.
So TSM now missing their support.
Support and top or mid laner.
Yeah,
Blue's very likely to go mid, actually, so probably top laner.
Yeah, I definitely think she's going to go mid. Ori versus Lulu, a lot of people say it's kind of favored for Ori, but it's not like she's just going to straight up kill you, so you're going to be able to make it out of the lane phase.
In TP, man, at like there's no conceivable way any of these champions should get even remotely close to dying.
Yeah.
1v1. no interference with the jungle.
Oh, okay. The Rise has been, a little bit on the bench so far, but coming out, so getting that damage boost in there.
Another AP heavy team too. Last game, Origin had a really AP heavy team with the Elise and the Rumble and pretty much triple AP threat. So I think if Origin can just get a little bit of magic resist, it's going to be really difficult for TSM.
And now looking for Soaz.
Soaz isn't going to play.
Come on. He's definitely not. But coming in, like, they do need some sort of damage threat in the top lane at this point in time to supplement that Ori, considering that they've got a lot of invulnerability, which is nice. So, of course, with the Kindred ultimate and the Alistar, they're actually going to be quite tanky as a team. So if they can get a melee champion that can fight on top of the Kindred ulti, that would be quite good. But so it's not really known as a Riven player.
There's
Known
like
as a Yorick player, though.
Yorick?
So
Yorick versus Rise just sounds horrible. Yeah. I would not want to be Yorick versus anything is the most annoying lane ever. I hate that champion.
Okay.
Wow.
I guess it is the Riven.
They're going for the strong 2v2 then. Like,
All right.
they really need to work together. Elise and Riven combined can take down a low mobility Rise. If he goes in the top lane, Rise probably end up mid anyway still.
Well, if you get Riven with a Hex Drinker here and Merc Treads, it's going to be impossible to kill her. And she's just going to be split pushing all game. I mean, I think Rise can hold him, but if he dies once, then you have a real problem on your hands.
Well, the thing is, too, is the short range of Rise means that he has to get in the middle of these fights. So that means he has to get into the Kindred ult. And, I mean, that's a Riven playground right there. Just getting in there, getting the heal off of it, and being able to CC people as they walk in right after it ends.
Rise currently on Hanser.
Yeah,
looks like he's
going
going
back and forth, but
if they don't lane swap, that's tricky though. Like trying to stay alive with a Rise against Elise Riven, both can
they can dive you so easily because
they can dive you or just straight up gank you through the lane.
Well, the thing I was trying to say before yesterday is the way to play Rise is to get the lane frozen in front of you. But the problem with that is that just sets it up to where you can just push that extra little inch, and then you just have this big minion wave. Elise comes in, cocoons you level 3. You just instantly die and you lose the game.
Let's say it's going to be a little bit of a danger zone for Rise up in the top lane. We'll find out if they go for that swap or how else they want to manage this game. Ladies and gentlemen, TSM playing this game to stay alive here at the Intel Extreme Masters. Let's find out in game number 2.
Thank you very much, guys. So, no way it's going to be Riven, but it is Riven.
Yes.
Now we need to figure out, okay, how's this going to work out? He's up against Rise. It was the final lock-in. Will be Rise in the top lane for Haunter. So immediately we've seen Haunter on a new champion. We haven't seen him on this tournament so far.
He actually played it back on Gravity is the thing as well.
Okay.
So like they mentioned, like the Gangplank ban, like Haunter played that on Gravity. The Rise, he actually played that top lane on Gravity as well. So like he's actually coming back to his old champions.
Come back.
Just
He's like, the
when they
Mets is
realized-
back in for me.
Yeah. I mean, Haunter was always a great sort of carry top laner back on the Gravity days. He played AP Echo. That was actually pretty solid, aside for the one time he ulted back to his base after TP home guarding. We're going to ignore that one. But by and large, I think Haunter's actually been one of the brightest spots for TSM, even still in this tournament, actually, despite the sort of fairly bad game 1. I think he made the best of a bad situation.
So here we go, ladies and gentlemen. It is game 2 of this best of 3. TSM 1-0 down against Orihen. And at the moment, they are also losing in the Counter-Strike. So let's hope that Reginald doesn't lose both his teams in the semifinals, because that would be a bit of a tragedy.
So at least they made semifinals.
It's true.
Better than Worlds.
Oh.
Why are you bringing up these old wounds? They're still fresh.
They're not old wounds then.
0-10. That was a bad week for all of North America.
it
No doubt
hurt.
about it. It hurt a lot. It was a great first week, though. Yeah. So you guys had both sides. But let's get on to this game, because we're not going to see lane swaps, it seems, so far, unless the wards give them information they want to switch around.
They've still got time to recall and move across here. So this is like right where it starts to matter. So you get your early wards down. Looks like it's pretty much line of scrimmage wards on both sides, which means they will be blind pick lane swaps, and they won't know where the other jungler started unless you can infer from what kind of camps are started. But if you look at what Origin's doing right now, their dual lane's taking Gromp, which means they don't know if Origin started Amazing and Soaz at Krugs or at Blue Buff. That's blind. TSM really in the same situation here, where neither of these teams will actually know the jungle pathing.
And it's definitely going to be important for these matchups, too, because we talk about Riven, at least in later levels, not really having a favorable matchup into Rise, in the mid-game mostly, once Rise can start chain snaring and really stop her from engaging. But early levels, Riven should do pretty well just because Rise doesn't have that same reliable lockdown. But on the opposite side, let's talk about this bottom lane. They're taking Gromp, but that's not an AD carry we've seen before. This is a Kindred AD carry, and this is This is not something I've seen in the Kespa Cup. This is not something I've seen at all, and I'm really curious as to how it's going to work out.
I've played against it in solo queue as and against maybe 4 or 5 times so far. The sustain is ridiculous. That W's tuned for the jungle, and it's just straight ludicrous in a 2-on-2 laning phase. I don't think TSM could actually have won that 2-on-2 based on my limited knowledge. Crepo may know more. You can talk about it after the game. But I actually think it's a good thing for TSM that they lane swap. They can kill the turret faster because they have Tristana. Kindred's not as good at that. But really lucky, though, they actually got the Kindred mark on the scuttle right above the lane.
And that's absolutely huge as we see Kasing pressuring in here.
Nice, Kasing trying to keep that pressure on. So really causing problems for them early on, and that could hurt. That could hurt. We'll see. Soaz going to continue on, though, with Amazing. As we expect, this is almost Worlds-esque. They're just going to continue their lane swaps and try and push the towers early.
And we're seeing the fast push on both sides. But the big thing here is that after this tower goes down on the bottom side of the map, not only are they postured for drag control, but they're postured to secure the scuttle cap for Kindred and get her those early stacks. And that's going to be huge, especially now on the AD carry position. Going to be a much more important piece of the damage.
Mithy, you're going to have to run faster than that to try and catch Bjergsen. That little Yordle can move pretty quickly if she needs to. But yeah, Mithy just trying to keep pressure on him. We saw this in the game 1 as well. Power of Evil getting help from the support. Obviously, they had the top laner as well joining them. But here is the fast tower push. Haunter, Kasing, and Double F going to make sure they get that down and keep lane cutting.
This is good for TSM to knock it down as fast as possible. Getting Ryze into a place where he can actually start earning gold, because double jungle top laners don't earn very much money. The turret will die very fast, and the question is, will Niels get to knock this down as fast as TSM does? Because this will drop. This turret's dead on this wave here. Haunter's going to collect the next one. And the question is, does Niels knock the next one down before TSM can show up for the 2-on-2?
Oh, Mithy's got to just sneak around the side. He catches on to Haunter, but the tower has gone down. But the question is, will they get first blood? Yes! And it will go to Soaz once again.
Just an explosive amount of aggression there coming in, securing that kill. An amazing flash pull coming in from Mithy. The Lantern not even going to get picked up. No opportunities. The CC was just chained beautifully there. And Origin once again setting the pace for this game. Aggressive early plays, but they didn't grab a tower. So overall, TSM still find the gold advantage here.
But the money went on to the Soaz Riven, though. So just like last game, he started out on a champion that can abuse a mid-game lead and had a lead. We had the same thing here with his Riven. You know, we talked about the Ryze versus Riven matchup being potentially fairly difficult on both sides, but it's a gold lead Riven. This makes it even harder.
Remember, they didn't take the bottom turret, so the pressure wasn't enough from Niels all alone there. And Doublelift has managed to get himself down there, so we'll see how this fares. But at the moment, Soaz is in trouble. He does spot it. He should be able to get out, but he manages to catch up. Oh, flashes to death sentence in the last second. And that's purely down to the fact that Haunter hasn't obviously leveled up that Rune Prison enough yet.
Yeah, so just, you know, enough time in between the two. 2 flashes for 1, though, is certainly advantage Origin. The question is now how aggressive Soaz can play, because he's melee, right? He has to get into range of ganks. And we heard, I forget who said it, I'm sorry for the analyst who said this one yesterday, you know, playing Ryze is all about getting the lane to freeze in front of your turret, and if you can, you've won the laning phase. Haunter, though, well,
big minion wave as well, and Haunter completely caught out. Soaz straight up soloing him. He had the whole wave, 2 waves of ranged minions there to help him as well.
He had the laning phase 1, but now TP is down, and he's in the wrong spot entirely. Amazing, now forced to run.
Yeah, well, now Mithy's in trouble. Amazing should be able to get out, but I'm not too sure if Mithy can.
Flash for Mithy.
He's going to get caught up. The lash comes in, but there's a great shield, and look at Niels going aggressive. In comes Soaz with the teleport. Svenskeren will get caught out. He goes down. Kasing gets caught with the cocoon.
Oh, wow.
Oh my God, disaster strikes once again for TSM, and Origin get themselves another early kill lead.
Origin absolutely dominating the early game. The 1v1 between Soaz and Haunter. Haunter so amazing yesterday in that matchup versus LGD. A very consistent player, but today has just fallen flat in both games overall. And on top of that, the rest of Origin, amazing skirmishes in this early game. Once again on the red side jungle, finding a massive advantage. Now 4-0 with a huge gold lead.
Oh, the AD carries are at least having a bit of fun there, but that's going to be the minion wave taking down his turret. Doublelift is going to try and stick around for as long as possible. He's got to be careful. Mithy still lingering off the side there. Niels doesn't think he's going to take the tower this time around, but not too pressured as he takes a bit of damage in the backside from Doublelift. Teleport used in the mid lane by Bjergsen to return back to lane quicker, so going to continue to make sure he can keep pressure on Power of Evil, who both went and got their catalyst to the protector.
All right, lots of sustain going to come up then for these guys, but first Mithy spotted.
Sven's coming around the back here. He's going to try and get around the side. Casino caught out. Double him taking a lot of damage. He's forced to jump away. Now here comes Sven Skjern. Has he got enough? Gets the slow down on towards Mithy. Double him pulled in, but they've got to be careful this doesn't get countered. Remember, there's no teleports available for Origin, and TSM will get themselves a kill for Double him.
That's a really big deal right there. That lane was so close to being difficult because Niels could continue to sustain, continue to poke, continue to make TSM's life hard, but now a 3-on-1 out of this turret. He's going to give up some CS, but I'm not sure they can kill the turret itself.
The big interesting thing here is that, as we see from Closer, you talked about this sustain in this lane being absolutely insane. That's what we're seeing right now. Niels just consistently healing back up. I don't know if it's going to be enough, though.
Oh, Niels in trouble. He's dead. There's no way he's getting out of that one alive. He's stuck around for a little bit, waiting to give it to Haunter.
Really well played. A nice roam by Haunter. He pushed the top lane wave out, and of course that outer turret's gone, so he couldn't stay in the lane. Roams instead, and just honestly greedy of Niels to sit in that 1v3. Could have been a 1v4 lane, and it was.
So despite the amazing sustain that Kalista has to keep herself healthy, the mana pool just was not there for Niels. He had been spamming out the Dance of Arrows so much in those earlier skirmishes that despite hitting level 6, clearly pausing to level up the Lamb's Respite in that exchange, wasn't going to be enough. Still ended up going down, doesn't have the mana to cast the ability, and that in that instance just really fumbling to stay that long.
So, Origin get themselves the kill lead early. They do finally take down that bottom turret. Remember, they didn't manage to rush it. And that will, of course, boost their goal and equalize the fact they have one turret apiece. But now Dragon potentially being set up here by Origin. No? Are they going to stick around to it? No. It would be an early one.
The teams have different priorities. The Dragon will eventually go to Origin, I'm going to say in the next minute and a half here, because look at the lane assignments now for TSM. They've given the difficult lane to Double Lift. The 48 CS Riven with 2 kills. He's range, he's Tristana, he'll survive it. They're trying to give Ryze, Haunter, a frozen lane down at the bottom. He will not contest Dragon, he won't be able to. The TP won't mean much either. They need this Ryze to start scaling up now, so he's given the most beneficial lane they can, and they're giving the map to Origin.
And Origin taking full advantage of this. They don't even go in to pressure the Dragon in this exchange. They know this. They recognize what TSM is doing, and they say, if you want to freeze that lane, we're more than happy to take our free tower here in the top lane. And Double Lift has the wave clear, but it's really just buying time at this stage. As you can see, TSM not really willing to give this one up. Multiple members now moving towards the top lane.
Mithy's still just sticking around the side there. Sven Skjern was nearby, just helped Bjergsen get himself the blue buff, so TSM strength in numbers towards that top lane. Sven Skjern still sticking around, just taking down the Gromp, making sure he can stay close by. While the rest of Origin continue to keep their farm going. Soaz has got himself back down towards that bottom lane and pressuring on Horde Summit. Like you said, he's happy to sit deep on this one towards his tower.
There's about only 1 minute for TS. Oh, it might even be less than this. Soaz really going for the play here. Haunter does have Flash, though.
Gonna catch on towards him, Flash, burn. There we go, had to use it early. Nicely done from Soaz, just keeping the pressure on towards Haunter. Tries to counter it a little bit. Now, Soaz doesn't have a great deal of ward coverage in that jungle in the lower half. He does have 1 ping towards the red buff, but that is it. So a little bit wary of his situation.
This is actually a pretty sizable window, though, because we saw, obviously, the most, or in 5.21, Riven's ult cooldown was nerfed significantly. So there's a pretty big opening for Haunter to farm comfortably here, because Riven just really does not have the same amount of kill pressure without that ultimate.
Yeah.
He won't die 1v1, but with the lane so pushed in, and so has the TP coming up in about 12 seconds now, that's the window Origin can abuse. They can create a 5v4 somewhere else on the map by TPing Soaz in on a flank, and you can actually see a couple of deep wards down in this jungle. There's one by mid lane, one right below blue buff, which means TSM can get assaulted by all 5 members of Origin at a moment's notice.
And it's clear that TSM is aware that they're just gonna have to back off. Double Lift trying to recoup a little bit of CS here, but as this turret falls, I think OG are just, once again, waiting for that mid game, because they do have a lot of power with that Riven, with that Kalista in these team fights. It's a little bit different composition, but we've seen them just explode once it hits the 15-minute mark, and right now they're just taking these small advantages.
And the next advantage might be Dragon now. Looks like amazing heading down to this side of the map. Bjergsen just now on a recall, so Power can shove this wave, then make it happen. It's really just, if Origin says okay, they will get the Dragon. It's just a matter of them actually dedicating the resources to do it. And looks like this is finally the time they go for it here.
And of course, the Scuttle Crab is marked as well, and that'll be Niels' third stack as they push in to try to take this. And that's a pretty sizable amount of damage as they push forward. Remember, the stacking hasn't been changed yet, so it's pretty, you can scale pretty quickly, especially with the Blade of the Rune King now in that inventory as well.
I mean, this is what we were talking about the previous matchup, just the sometimes the luck that you get for the stacking. He's had 2 Scuttle Crabs already so far, so getting very lucky. In fact, yeah, that would be his 3rd one, so he had the bottom one, the top one, and now again at the bottom, so sometimes it just works out in your favor. Power of Evil in the mid lane, again, a very nullified mid lane, as you would expect between Lulu and Orianna. Not going to be a great deal of aggression there, and here's going to be the Dragon start for Origin. Not a thing that TSM can do to contest this one.
One of the amazing things about Kalista as a champion and what she really brings to a team is, and especially when paired with an Elise too, the perks of picking her up in the AD carry is absurd objective control, because with her sustain and with the damage she can dish out to monsters, she rips through neutral objectives. And what we saw in the Kespa Cup is that when she's paired with a tankier option, maybe an Alistar, maybe a tankier top laner, she can look at pressuring Baron the instant that it spawns if she has enough stacks, because with that sustain, with that damage, Baron just gets ripped apart.
It's going to be a huge concern here. It's honestly like, it's just like last game over again, where Origin are going to get really scary in the next 8 minutes, and they're already ahead, so TSM have to roll over for quite a while. And to their credit, they've played it a little bit slower now. They've given up much less than they had
Look at the
game
pressure.
1.
Look at this beautiful pressure. They're all collapsing in towards the mid. TSM realize we can't contest this. Bam, another turret taken very easily. Now a hook onto Soaz. Is it going to get followed through? Well, Kasing does throw down his ulti. Now they might catch on towards him. Have they got enough damage? It doesn't look like it. That shield for Power of Evil.
Keep your eyes on Svenskeren.
Taken. Svenskeren goes in. He catches out towards Niels there, but Mifty manages to get a good lockdown. Shockwave pulls Svenskeren in. He'll get dropped. And Origin not going to get chased down by TSM here. Just too much in their artillery for TSM to handle.
That just felt greedy by Svenskeren. I don't think that play was really going to ever work. Kasing's box was down. I believe he had burned Ignite trying to chase down Soaz as well. Just, I don't think there was enough available to make that fight actually work. I think he only hit Spiderlings anyway with the body slam. So it really just, I feel like not enough done with that one. So a bit more gained over for Origin. They're going to feel pretty solid about this one. And really just props to them already knocking down 3 outer turrets very early in. And now the question is, can they defend this outer turret that TSM wants?
They're now collapsing on TSM, and TSM haven't recognized it quite yet. They're just now starting to back off. I'm not sure. Looks like it will be fast enough, but OG just moving so quickly on the map, being the proactive team, not afraid to pressure down those towers. And what I'm seeing from TSM today is a lot of what we saw from UOL yesterday. As they're falling behind, they're starting to kind of grasp at straws. They're going for those very aggressive Gragas plays. We saw Hanser with a flash, or not Hanser rather, but Kasing with that flash hook in the top lane that was a very limited timing window and was just so easy to flash, and TSM overcommitting resources left and right. But unfortunately, it's exactly where they are in this game, as a 4K gold deficit at 15 minutes is absolutely massive.
Origin looking to try and suffocate slowly on TSM here. Now remember, they did have this same advantage. They are looking to give up potentially this bottom turret. Soaz in trouble. They're going to try and get away, but that Rune Prison hooks on towards him. The flash is coming out. Hotzer will chase him down, but he's going to get out alive again, and Mithy with the support this time.
Another small miscommunication by TSM. Kasing was waiting on hook until Rune Prison landed. But if they had talked about it right, he would have said, okay, Hanser would have said, okay, I'm Rune Prisoning now, start hook right away. And then they would have chained the CC. Instead, Hanser hit the Rune Prison. Kasing waited till he saw the Rune Prison. It gave enough time for Soaz to flash, and it's just another example of a small thing that they haven't ironed out yet. The team's 5 days old.
And looking at Rise at the stage of the game, he should be able to chain snare quite comfortably. So not only was it a lack of communication, but it felt like a fumble for Hanser. When you flash forward on a Rise, I expect to see 3 or 4 of those snares laid out in succession. I saw 1 or 2 in that fight, and I don't know if it was cooldown mismanagement. I don't know what happened.
I think
that was a
huge Hex Drinker. Just like, okay, I hit us. Oh, you have 500 more health than I thought. Whoops, never mind. This was like, just having the forethought of understanding the items would have made you never go for this play.
Too many Tristana fadeaway kills, and he wanted one of his own.
Just now he's playing Nidalee. The longer the range, the more damage it does, you know?
Just not what you want to see. And Hanser obviously struggling today. Once again, still a very new player on this lineup, but it's a shame to see him have these kind of fumbles left and right. 75 CS to 112 on Soaz's Riven. Very rough game for this Rise.
One thing we do know, though, of TSM is they can turtle up. They can farm the way back into this one. Doublelifters had a fairly quiet game, but he hasn't had a chance to. But he's still at 1-0-1 on Tristana. Tristana will get stronger and stronger and stronger. So don't write TSM off just yet. There's still a long way to go in this matchup. the big team fight to happen still. Not really seen anything contested around that dragon. That one dragon is all that's happened so far. So probably going to be a slow dragon game, I feel, for Origin here. Not really their focus. Towers is what it's all about. They have a big advantage so far. Dragon going to be up a minute and a half. Origin looking to try and catch out possibly Svenskeren here.
And they're doing a very good job of prepping for this objective as we see them start to push in for more vision. They know that Dragon is what's next on the list. It's the easiest objective for them to take as a team. And so a minute ahead of time, they're starting to prep. And this is what we see from teams with confident and consistent shot calling, although Soaz is playing of his own.
No flash remote for Haunter, so Soaz happy to just jump on Haunter there. Take a fairly even trade. Oh, Haunter thought he could get aggressive, and Soaz just decimates him in a straight-up 1v1. But now Svenskeren and Doublelift are joining. Teleport comes in. Power of Evil joining the fight. Mithy catches on towards Svenskeren. There's going to be the shockwave, but he pulls the Death Lantern away and gets to safety. But it was still a 1-for-0 trade. And remember that dragon just 40 seconds away. Oh, Kasing, you're caught. I don't think he's going to get away from this one. Oh, amazing. Chooses not to go for it. And I think it was the right choice.
And in the meantime, Kindred on the top side. OG were already set up to take this dragon completely uncontested, but Niels is just up here putting down pressure, gathering more CS, picking up yet another mark of the Kindred. 4 stacks 17 minutes into this game. An absolute monster, and OG are completely dominating.
He's even, oh wow, has he got the balls to go for Bjergsen? Yes, he does. Mithy's going to join him. There's the flash coming out. He should be quick enough, but no, the headbutt Paul Royce lands. Is it enough? Oh, Niels has got very aggressive, and he's going to pay the price for that one. A little too much there, Niels, but that's a straight-up kill. That's ballsy to go for someone like a Lulu. Now Soaz going to turn around. Oh, Doublelift caught out of position. I don't think he can try and turn the damage down. It would have been a straight 1v1. He gets it with the explosive shot. Nicely done.
Still more gold to Origin, of course. They got the assist from that one. Also, the Niels trade, he got another mark with the Kindred off that one. So he's now at 5. This is actually a pretty rapid pace of stacking, from what I understand, of seeing Kindred games. So that 20-minute Baron opportunity, actually totally a thing. I mean, Elise is good at it. They've got plenty of healing and shields, but of course, the guys aren't done.
Shockwave catches in there. Kasing tries to put his ulti down, but he's going to get dropped, and now Svenskeren in trouble. Mithy should be able to lock him up, but in comes the rest of the team here. Amazing trying to get locked in, but he will get caught out around the side. Haunter catching him down, and now Mithy is going to have to pop his ultimate to try and get away from this one. Slowed down considerably. His ultimate's not going to last too long at this level. He just gets kept alive by Niels, and now the counter-attack is on. Bjergsen gets caught out. Soaz, is he going to let Niels have that one? Yes, he will. He jumps onto Haunter. He gets locked up, and this game is back and forth, crazy action. Oh, Soaz is the bait there. Oh, Doublelift just goes a little too early. Soaz, I think, would have jumped into that bush blindly.
Beautiful Lamb's respect coming in there from Niels to save his support. And additionally, once again, Monty praised Soaz for amazing TPs, and Soaz has been on point, consistently finding those flanks with the vision and the warding that they've been able to put down. TSM overextending, grasping at straws here, trying to claw their way back into this game, and they have opportunities, but that was not one of them.
Yeah, it's just falling farther and farther away here. TSM, you know, chasing down. I mean, chasing down that ulted Alistar when you know the rest of the enemy team can come down. It's just, it's you know, one step in the right direction, one step in the wrong direction. Okay, you know, that first set of ganks was pretty cool. They got like a 2-for-1 off all this, but, you know, they blew an ultimate. Okay, good stuff. But yeah, it's just greed by TSM.
And we can see this as it comes back in here. Just an excellent shockwave to start this one off. And Power of Evil obviously potentially overstaying his welcome as Bjergsen and the rest of the team collapse. And it's an amazing collapse from TSM. We can't take that away from them. Very good TP to come in here on Bjergsen, but they put themselves in this position where the exact same thing can happen. The creep wave is behind them. That's not even a ward, as I credited earlier. We're seeing some more aggression, but just TSM do something, OG just do the exact same thing right back to them. And TSM, despite making that play, don't respect the potential of the turnaround.
And the thing is, TSM don't have to play very fast. They're going to outscale very hard this game. You have a Lulu buffed Tristana. You have Ryze. Like, these are probably the 3 best combined solo laners you could probably go for in this patch of League of Legends in a 50-minute game. I can't think of 3 ones I would want more. And you're up against Kindred, up against Elise, 2 of the worst scaling ones in that role. Patience would let TSM win this game on its own, probably.
And theoretically, there's that potential for the infinite Kindred scaling, but as she's hit 5 stacks, as she's
It's only
hit 5
infinite if they kill you over and over again.
Exactly.
I think at 521 it's already capped on Jungle Monster. I could be wrong.
No, it is. No, 522, I believe, is when the cap on Jungle Monsters comes out. So not quite there yet. But the big thing is at 6 stacks, she's no longer going to be able to find those jungle creeps. And as you said, she's going to have to kill people. So as long as TSM play back and play defensive, really only having to be careful to not let that Baron go down, it should be very easy for them to just, as you said, stall out this game, let superior scaling take over, let Double once again be the focus for this team, as they have an excellent comp to support him in the late game team fights.
I just realized we're making the same point. The jungle was capped.
Yeah,
521. Sorry, the stacks from killing Jungle Monster
the damage
521.
on Jungle Monsters.
The damage on Jungle Monster was 522. Okay, we're on the same page now. We're good.
Oh, man. It's going very...
Oh,
wow. Okay, Horns is dead. That happened.
Solid play-by-play.
Yeah,
That was great.
Got him. He's
dead.
I'm on point.
Poor Hanser, 3 and 5. So I was just picking on him. And some of it is misplays by Hanser, of course, and some of it's just like, look, Soaz got first blood this game. Welcome to Ribbon Snowballing. Everyone's played solo queue. We know what this is like. This is every enemy Ribbon in solo queue.
This is a collapse potentially happening here. TSM are going to back away from it, though. You could see Mithy on the minimap just looking to edge around the side there, but TSM choosing the right path, but it does give them the moment for Soaz to just take himself a turret down that bottom lane after killing Haunter. No reaction from TSM. They're continuing to try and probe and prod. Now they're going to go for a chase. This is so risky. The Death Bush is set up from Origin.
OTP. And Haunter does. So there's actually a window here where TSM can make a 5v4, but of course, checking a Fox, someone dies too fast for that to happen.
Look at the cow. The cow is amazing. He's coming around the side and he's going to catch on to Svenska and almost countered it with a belly slam there. Will get out alive. Nicely played there. Of course, that Lantern pulling him to safety. TSM looking again to try and counter engage. It's so risky again they're playing here. Again, Mithy looking to go around the side and catch them out. And Haunter's joining him this time.
TP used and canceled by Hanser, and additionally Svenska and forced backwards, so there's an
Mithy's
immense
completely
amount
behind
of
him.
pressure.
He's got around the side, catches on towards Haunter. Haunter's in trouble. I mean, again, the death sentence is being able to keep him alive. Kasic's gone aggressive. The rest of his team not on the same page, and he's going to pay the price. Soaz will pick himself up a free kill left.
Enemies control again for Origin. They can set right to Baron. They didn't lose much health at all. Okay, they're low on mana for some of these guys, but power can regen it before too terribly long, and they can continue this bait game, and TSM are really gaining no ground here.
And TSM, once again, after what we saw from them yesterday, maintaining the same weaknesses, forgetting toward their flanks, not being diligent enough. And Mithy got to walk around that team twice to look for engages. First one didn't work out so well. Second one works just fine.
Soaz looking to try and get onto Doublelift, but Doublelift putting a lot of damage back down. Baron has been picked up now, but Soaz next to no health. Amazing, very low as well after tanking out. This could go very well for Doublelift. Tries to get in there, hasn't quite got the damage, has to back away. Niels is going aggressive on him. Niels will pick up the kill. Svenska gets caught. Niels gets himself another, and now Bjergsen will get chased down. He has to back away from this one. They have to respect the damage. Soaz tries to go a little too aggressive. Niels did get caught out there, and there's a second suddenly for Bjergsen. They're turning it.
Niels not noticing the help picks or not respecting it. Really just needed to use the Lamb's Respite there just to be comfortable. But doesn't end up burning that cooldown. Very comfortable clearly with the damaging portion of the kit. Maybe not so much with that utility part. But TSM, I mean, despite losing a lot here, are going to be able to find a small advantage back.
And the change shields means Kasing's going to be okay enough that he can tank the entire turret. Smart of him, because if that minion died, the backdoor bonus would have timed out. So that tanking was on purpose. Smart play by Kasing. TSM able to get a little something back, but you kind of saw the epitome of why TSM is losing this game is over-aggression, Doublelift jumping in too far. Now power hasted. Not a chance.
Not a chance, no, but the shockwave will pull in. He might get Kasing down as well, so it's something for nothing at least. And it won't be 3 situation, but look down the river. Here comes Mithy. Is he going to try and create something? No, Svenska might try and turn this one. Doesn't land the belly slam. Got to be careful. This is still a Baron up Origin. They've got to be very careful in these skirmishes.
Yeah, they got 2 buffs left. It's a support jungle that still have it. He's trying to stop the... Oh, nope. Not going to do that one right. But it still means Dragon, almost definitely.
Well, Svenska could try and get in there, but no. He's instead going to let Origin. That's the 3rd one of the game for them.
Third Dragon, of course, that extra mobility will help out this low-range Kindred immensely, and additionally Mithy. Just finding flanks left and right in the pass. More than happy to pick up that one. And once again, we look at this fight, and it's just... TSM are trying to find an advantage here that they just really do not have. And you can see this is very systematic from Niels as he's allowed to just rip through. Power of Evil's caught out and is very vulnerable, but Doublelift so hungry for the kill here. However fed you are, whatever game you're playing of League of Legends, you watch this fall out, there is never a reason to flash into a Riven. No. And, I mean, Bjergsen does very well. You can see the help picks on the backside is going to secure that kill for him, and they find something back in return. So OG overextend, but so does TSM. And when you have that massive gold lead and you have that Baron buff, OG are going to be the one who come out on top.
It's so weird because TSM AD carries are not even known for overextending. It's like new to Doublelift or something.
Well, they certainly are now, that's for sure. But speaking of AD carries, Niels on Kindred here, putting up some damage. Mythic, oh, there's the shockwave engage on towards Bjergsen. They've invested a lot of this one, but they haven't yet to get the kill. Niels is going to get caught out by Kasing, dragged in with the death sentence, but
nice
there is his ult. Perfect.
Oh, nice.
Will get taken down, though, knocked out of it. They're going to get a good counter down. They've managed to get the turret, but that's all. TSM now on the chase. They can catch on towards Power of Evil. He can speed himself up in just a second, and he will get out alive. But that was a 3-for-1 exchange. Origen overcommitted that.
I would take that. I'd take a 3-for-1 in exchange for my for an inhibitor turret. The turret itself not worth a lot of gold. Of course, it does mean positioning and the ability to take down the inhibitor itself at a later time. But these are the kinds of things that TSM sort of need. And it's also really, really worth pointing out that despite all the deaths, Hauntzer is actually still the kill leader on his team. Overextending in lane, but getting the last hits in team fights is helping him stay in this game.
And looking at just an excellent engage here, and as, once again, keep your eyes on Niels, because he does have an absolutely phenomenal ult as he moves forward here in the game, denying so much damage, but Doublelift with that ultimate, you talked about this when we came into the game, you can deny that Lamb's respite, you can be on top of that in those small exchanges, and TSM, you know, once again, punishing OG for overextending. Unfortunately, you know, because of the lead OG mass so early, they're not going to find much more as a result.
Yeah, I mean, it's a nice double displacement setup that TSM have, able to be able to knock out whoever may be low, whether it's Svenskerin's barrel, as you mentioned, Doublelift, doing it all himself there.
Yeah, thanks to the Ignite on, I believe. It was the knockback, and then the Ignite got the kill. No, that's actually wrong, because the only person with Ignite is the support, and he didn't get it. So whatever. Either way, kill happened. Congratulations to TSM for picking something up there. But they've got to still claw back at 8,000 gold deficit. And again, 8,000 gold, you know, means less later on in the game. And in fact, TSM can win teamfights with a deficit because of the champions they have, but that time is still really not now.
I just wonder, you know, for TSM, how different this game may have been if they hadn't have had those two devastating starts. You know, the 3-0 and the 4-0 starts in both of these games. Obviously giving Origen a big advantage, but TSM clearly got it in them to keep the fight going to them.
And as they push in for this inhibitor, it's just very difficult for TSM.
Sven's going in. He's going to try and catch him outside there. Managed to pin Niels an amazing down, but not really a lot to follow up. Shockwave only really catching on Svenskeren. They do get the kill, but look at Doublelift. Look at the damage he's able to put down. Gets himself locked up there, but Kasing goes in, throws himself in for the team. Doublelift, he can't quite pick a team of targets off. They're all so very low, but
not
Niels
anymore.
Gets himself a double. He's still coming around there, but he still can't get the damage down. He got one. He's going to go aggressive. Oh, too deep. And again, Soaz pays the price, catches on towards him. Haunters in trouble. He will go down. This may well be the game now for Origen.
He's getting occasional kills, but again, Doublelift rocket jumps into the team. He had heal and flash. He could have theoretically tried to outplay Soaz, but Soaz, I believe, landed the flash key burst, so the immediate stun that Double wasn't able to predict and couldn't have reacted to.
Yeah.
I have to praise Mithy once again in that team fight, as you saw in the back half there. Just amazing peace of mind to headbutt Doublelift out of the fight. Knew that the only way anyone was going to drop with that Lamb's respite down was if the Buster shot came out, did not give Doublelift the opportunity. And Doublelift, at the end of the day, so hungry to find those kills, it really turns against them and punishes them. TSM, the Whimsy is very powerful at this stage of the game, but what are you going to do when Niels is right on top of you? He does so much damage.
Oh, hello. You've got to be careful there. They're trying to chase Niels, but Niels has got a lot of damage to put down now. So is kind of out of position here. No risk of power, and that's not up to 45 seconds. So just TSM trying to get something from nothing there. Wasn't able to be, though. And now, of course, they are sitting with an inhibitor down.
The good thing is, this gold lead still means that Origen need to keep the pressure on to win, even though they're so darned far ahead. But Baron's up in 25. Dragon number 4 for them is only a minute away. Origen, if they're smart, will play around those objectives. Right now, though, TSM have warded these up. They've got plenty of vision covering Baron right now. I can't see TSM right now taking an open field fight and it being close, though. So I think they Origin should just get a safe Baron and can use that to try to close the game out.
And Origin have a lot of potential to team fight very confidently here, whereas TSM are very much all about double lift. Hanser has a pretty big important role too, but with Bjergsen mostly going to be focused on protecting double lift. We look at the two differences in the mid laners here. We have utility sort of focused mid laners between Lulu and Orianna, where you have the shield, you have the ball. But Orianna, as we push further and further into the game, that shockwave is going to mean so much more than that wild growth if she can hit multiple targets in the next team fight. So got to keep your eyes on Power of Evil. You may not have the scaling in the AD carry, but the scaling in the mid lane is very much a threat as we push forward.
Well, at the moment, it is very much Origin in control, as it was game number 1. TSM fighting to stay in this tournament. And this is going to be Dragon number 4, picked up very easily for Origin. TSM unable to contest any of the Dragons so far in this game, remember, since that 4-0 lead that Origin gained once again.
Yeah, but you can see TSM was already trying to control Baron. They know Origin, I think, really need that Baron to secure their victory here, and TSM doing everything they can to try to stop that. Hanser does have teleport as he's sitting in the bottom lane, so he can join up for this one. I don't think TSM can find the right fight, but there's a chance they can.
That is such a quick Baron, though. Look at that. That's gone. That is a very, very fast Baron take from Origin. TSM.
They burned teleport. They wanted to stop him, and that was just incorrect. They didn't properly guess how long it would take Origin to kill it, and just a waste of a summoner spell.
I don't think anyone really appreciates how quickly Kalista can rip through a Baron. That current health damage, where it's at currently, I believe 7.5 now with 6 stacks, just demolishes Baron. And there's no cap on this patch, we have to remember, on that neutral monster damage. So every one of those hits doing thousands of damage is when Baron's at full health.
Yeah, Kindred does so much damage right now. That's the big thing for Niels. And like, we wondered how it would be, how he'd get, when he'd get fed, you know, because he's only got that short range. But caught out, Hanser's in trouble. Svenskerin's trying to disperse them, trying to do what he can to keep them away.
Shockwave!
Shockwave pulls Hanser back through. And he does get out alive. That Lantern has been on point from Gassin, keeping them alive, but that's going to be another inhibitor turret going down. Not quite yet.
And it's several ultimates down for TSM as well.
Look at double lift. He's got to be careful. Soaz has caught him a couple of times here. He's playing on the edges. It's great damage, but that Landros bite isn't going to be enough to keep Power of Evil alive. So it's going trying to make use of it as well. Origin being whittled down, taken very low here. Hanser gets on, double lift goes aggressive. He can get on towards Soaz, and he's going to chunk down the damage. Turns him back around, but he cannot survive.
I think Origin have seen this before. Tristana chasing down the team.
Go on, Niels, trying to get away. Power of Evil running for his life, but that was a Baron up Origin there, and TSM absolutely decimated. A great turnaround, a great swing in the fight, considering Svenskeren had been taken so low early on.
It's so impressive. At first I was like, oh, TSM lost so many ultimates, how could they win the second round? But the ultimates down were Mithy's ult, making him no longer a tank, and Shockwave, meaning that they no longer have zoning tools to stop Devlin from making these kinds of plays.
And when we look through this team fight, you can see exactly how much double lift matters at this stage of the game. The Lamb's Respite comes out, but double lift doesn't care. He's just going to rip through each and every one of these health bars. He'll knock them down to that 10% threshold and just keep going. This time around, unfortunately for Soaz, no opportunity to outplay, because going back into double lift means going right back into Hanser as well. And Niels, if it wasn't for that flash, he would have been just as dead as the rest of his team.
That could have been a very different story if they'd have caught on to Niels as well, because that would have freed up the moments. The problem is that TSM didn't really gain too many objectives from that. That's the off the back of it. But you know, that was a great defense. They didn't lose the inhibitor turret either. That was to whittle down so low.
Yeah. Now the objective TSM gained was 2 more minutes.
Yeah.
Which is only the only objective TSM cares about.
But at 10,000 gold down, that is a great objective, you know, to play yourself.
But that's
more
the thing, is the 10,000 gold, meh. Like,
yeah,
it's Ryze and Lulu Trist. Like, once that timer hits 45,
and
TSM probably just wins the game.
Look at this pressure. TSM, you know, with the fact, the power that double lift has now, he can just tank down that turret. And that's a mid-tier 2 turret taken down with ease. So as it's continuing to split push here, TSM could easily collapse back. They don't. Bjergsen actually has a teleport if he needs to deal with him, but the rest of Origin are going to try and make them pay and push this straight down into the inhib. So as it's on that inhibitor, he's going to take it down. There's nothing that they can do to defend that one. Just needed a single hit.
An excellent split pushing from Soaz. That's exactly where you want to take down an inhibitor tower, because the big objective coming in for OG is double lift. More than happy to disengage.
Yeah, that was
that 5th dragon. Looking at 5 dragons, OG may not have the late game scaling, but 5th dragon, that aspect of the dragon, will give it to them. That is so much power. They can rip through barons, they can rip through towers, and nothing will be able to stand in front of that.
With double lift's ulti down, Origin are going to feel fairly confident. They can use that Lamb's Respite now, and quite happily realize that Doublelift is not going to shoot them out of it. But they still have to respect the fact Svenskeren is off on the side there. And look at this, Origin realize they have to go for it. There's a shockwave. Beautiful! Oh my word, Doublelift caught out. News is going to get knocked out, but he manages to get himself straight back in there. And that really is the big damage dealer down. They only need to worry about Haunter now. Soaz getting the damage on towards him. One inhibitor goes down. The second will surely follow now. Bjergsen's going to try and do what he can to keep them alive, but they have to keep these minions off the turrets as well. There we go, second inhib down. They may try and push and finish.
And what an absolutely amazing initiation coming in for OG, but here's another one as they look for more.
Good hook on Power of Evil, but the focus is not enough. They don't have the damage to answer this 10,000 gold deficit that Origin have built up. And now the Nexus turrets will surely fall. Origin will be taking this in a 2-0 sweep.
Well played by Origin off the back of a top 4 finish at the World Championship. A sizable, convincing 2-0 over the new TSM lineup. A worthy finalist here at IEM San Jose. Origin with Power of Evil did absolutely wonderfully. Only 1 death, part of 19 of his team's 25 kills. Power had a great game here in his debut on Origin.
That last shockwave was everything. Locking up Doublelift, annihilating him instantly. Neil's on the backside of that fight, making it back into the Lamb's Respite, and one final amazingly well-executed team fight on the side of Origin. Really wins them the day here, and TSM starting to fight back, starting to look more coordinated, but at the end of the day, it was just not enough.
I have to wonder how nerve-wracking toward the end of that game was for Origin, because they had lost 3 to 4 fights in a row, or only got equal 3 to 4 fights in a row. And it's like, look, you guys know you're getting outscaled, and it's starting to happen. They're starting to lose these fights. And that really clutch play, I think Mithy went for a flash pulverized, shockwave landed, then headbutt landed. There was no saving Doublelift anymore. Those two were the reason they won the game at the very end.
Yeah, I mean, that was the only play they had then. And
yeah,
Doublelift, you know, he was trying to obviously get the damage down. He'd hit max level almost while he was at 16, so he hadn't quite got max range, but so close. They almost turned it around, TSM, but it's not to be. Origin will take them down and reach the final of the Intel Extreme Masters. So TSM go out in the semifinals just like they did in San Jose last year. Of course, it was Unicorns of Love. Very different style of matchup, that one.
Sure.
No doubt about it. But very impressive stuff from Origin. Clearly, they've had a bit of a break, but seem to have just took off where they left at the Worlds.
Yeah, a few issues here and there, but I really cannot praise Mithy enough for that game. I mean, an all-star Alistair performance, pairing so well with Power of Evil in that last fight, and I mean, a few hiccups for sure, but closing out with confidence in a quick 2-0.
So it also gives you a nice measuring stick for where TSM now has to go. Again, they weren't expecting to do a whole lot. Top 4 is probably their limit here with how good Origin were at Worlds. But it's like, yeah, okay, look, you can beat up LGD, who were pretty weak at Worlds. And to be fair, TSM went 1-1 with LGD at Worlds. LGD played about as well as they did back then, and now TSM won 2 in a row. So it's almost already better than the old team in a way. And they say, okay, well, here's what Western competition's like, though. A pretty thorough kick in the butt 2-0. It's like, all right, there's your footage to learn from. We'll see you in January.
But I mean, you say that, it was a kick in the butt, but they lost very early on in both those games. And if that hadn't have happened, especially in that matchup, could have been very different.
Sure.
But nonetheless, let's hear what the guys in the mid lane have to say. It's Peke and Power of Evil.
Well, ex-Peke, congratulations on the win for your team today. I have to say, when I came here, everyone said, you've got to interview ex-Peke. He's the guy you got to get, so I'm really happy I'm doing that after a win for you. But what's it like? You guys picked up right where you left off at Worlds. What's it like for you watching this rather than playing?
It's a lot different. I don't have the same pressure when the game's starting and everything, but when I'm seeing them play, I get super nervous. I destroy my nails because, I mean, they're playing super good, but still, I see the minimap. I see when someone's getting ganked, and I get super stressed, like nervous as well.
Well, you just recently announced the addition of Power of Evil. How would you grade his performance for you today?
I think he played really good, to be honest. They played as a team really good. He was always where he had to be, and it was really good to watch him play.
Well, that has to be really nice to hear, Power of Evil. And I know this has been a very quick transition for you. How were you able to do that in such a short amount of time?
Well, so all of the Origin members are trying to make me feel as confident as I can. And even so, we didn't have much time to practice. I felt it was pretty good, and I felt myself really confident in the team, and I think I still have a lot to learn but it's pretty good for now.
Well, and also, this tournament is on an old patch, so was it difficult at all for your team to find good scrims?
Yeah, we didn't find too many scrim partners because of the new patch. A lot of teams are not scrimming right now, but since we are here at IEM, a lot of teams scrimmed, everyone who is kind of an IEM involved, so the last days were pretty good practice.
Well, it looked like everything worked out for you. You dominated TSM today, so congratulations to both of you. Chopra, back to you.
Thank you, and good to see, I mean, both those players smile, and Xpeke and Power of Evil seem both pretty happy about how that game turned out.
I mean, Power of Evil confirmed TSM counter right now.
Okay, all right, that's true.
He's the IEM TSM destroyer, right?
The IEM TSM
The tilter of TSM.
A very specific role, but a role nonetheless. But we have a quick replay here also at the start of this game too, where this time Soaz just doing work for himself, and he got that early lead from this move.
Yeah, what I like the most about this clip here is that many players, okay, they have a lane frozen in front of the tower. They're strong enough to push it in. So what you could do here, and a normal player would just walk up, use his zone to kind of pressure the rise in the tower. Soaz doesn't do that. We can roll the clip right now and we can see what happens. Because after his creeps die, Hanser is now forced to move forward to kind of keep the lane where it is. And right at the very moment that Hanser steps in, Soaz just goes and destroys him. So he really has that really good read of the game. It doesn't look all that impressive, but it's these little things that Soaz just exactly reads the situation perfectly, and Hanser, yeah, just gets outplayed.
Well, those are the mind games of good player. I mean, Saint was talking about it before this game about the ribbon or about the rise that you want to freeze close to your turret, of course. And so it was just a prediction, because what Hanser was trying to do there was to wait for his minion wave so that he could freeze, and Soaz was just there waiting with a kill already. And dealt some damage.
And also that play was the catalyst too. They were fighting in the bot side red jungle, and Ryze was dead during that time, and they got that really good deep pink ward in. Riven just TP'd and cleaned up. So that's all. That one play led up to 20 seconds later, and I think that just kind of snowballed them for the win.
Yeah, he was involved in 3 kills there immediately off the bat. Just like, it's those little things, you make that outplay, then you still have your TP available, you go down to the bot lane or to the bottom jungle to help out, and really, he was a map-wide presence. He had a couple of really nice teleports, and overall, he just had a solid performance.
Not only in this game, but in game 1 of this series. I mean, Soaz's TP plays and his map awareness were really impressive. Origin's still looking very, very strong after their Worlds performance. I'm quite impressed.
Yeah, community-wide, I mean, people are really praising Soaz's performance in that match, just saying, I mean, it's amazing how he's been able to stay this relevant and a top player in that lane, constantly adjusting to the meta. Sure, he's had some dips, but he always finds a way to come back and redefine himself as a player. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to catch more highlights like those, and of course the POV VODs, I know some of you guys kind of missed that note yesterday, but they are available over at plays.tv. You'll be able to check out all of that in hindsight, see what it's like to play from the side of Origin and how they work around all of the vision during the Intel Extreme Masters here. So Origin takes that win 2-0, kind of what you would have expected on paper, going right through. Now we are going to wait, of course, to find out who the other finalist is going to be between CLG and Jnair. We'll have some time to break that down when we come back for the pre-match analysis, but just some quick thoughts here. Do we think it'll be just as dominant for Jnair versus CLG, or this is a little bit more of a toss-up?
I think this will be the closest series in the tournament, to be honest.
The whole tournament?
I mean, because we don't know what to expect from Jnair, and CLG showed really good macro play. It's just, are they going to be able to keep up in the lanes?
Okay.
Right. I mean, my read on Jnair from watching them at Kespa Cup, they're running this lineup again. So I thought they'd bring at least Chaser here, which would have, I think, changed my opinion on this roster. But they played with a lot of disrespect in the Kespa Cup. They made very risky ganks, very risky teleport plays, which didn't always work out. So I'm kind of unimpressed with Jnair right now. I think this is a pretty easy tournament for Origin to win at this stage. But I do think that CLG could beat Jnair because they have a much cleaner macro game from what I've seen.
Yeah, I liked what CLG brought to the table as like a cohesive unit, as a team. They not really fancy like plays, but just work together. Teleport mid, send 2 guys to the bot lane, zone them off, make those plays. If Jnair can really read that CLG is doing these things and lock CLG in their respective roles in the lanes, then I'm not sure how this match will play out. How well will Stixie and Aframu start laning 2v2 there? That's maybe the question. But other than that, in terms of macro, I do think CLG is a slight favorite.
Fair enough.
Oh, on top of that, I thought Smithy had a really good game yesterday, or really good
games.
Yeah, both games were really good. So I want to see if Jnair is actually going to be smart enough to ban the Gragas and put him on a non-comfort champion. So
I mean, it is that one ban, so we'll see if they've caught up on that from the VODs of yesterday. Ladies and gentlemen, don't forget to check out all of the other scores and stats that you want, and along with some news articles over on the Score Esports. You can download the app from the App Store or Google Play. For us, we're going to take a short break, and when we come back, it will be that second match of the day between the Jnair Green Wings and CLG.